Is this democracy at gunpoint? What Sowore's case reveals about Nigeria's political climate. The ongoing court case involving activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has once again put the spotlight on the relationship between politics, activism, and the justice system in Nigeria. While the legal proceedings continue, many observers believe the story is no longer just about one individual. Instead, it has become part of a larger conversation about how political criticism is handled in a democratic society. For years, Sowore has built a reputation as one of the country's most vocal activists through protests, interviews, and social media campaigns. He has consistently challenged government policies and spoken against leaders he believes are failing Nigerians. Because of this background, every legal action involving him tends to attract national attention. His supporters often see him as a symbol of resistance against the political establishment, while critics argue that activists must also be accountable for their actions and statements. One reason the case has generated so much discussion is because it comes at a time when political tensions are gradually increasing across the country. Although next general election is still some distance away, political groups are already repositioning themselves for future contests. As a result, any issue involving a well-known opposition voice quickly becomes a subject of public debate. Some Nigerians view such cases through a political lens, while others focus strictly on the legal issues involved. Another important aspect of the story is the growing influence of social media in shaping political conversations. Unlike in the past, political battles are no longer fought only at campaign rallies or in newspaper columns. Today, a single social media post can generate national debate within minutes. This new reality has created challenges for government, activists, journalists, and the courts. Authorities often argue that public figures should be careful about the information they publish, while activists insist that strong criticism is an important part of democracy. The case has also renewed discussion about the responsibility that comes with freedom of expression. Many Nigerians support the right to speak freely, but there are different opinions on where the line should be drawn between criticism and allegation that may damage another person's reputation. Beyond the legal argument, the situation highlights the growing role of the judiciary in resolving politically sensitive disputes. Courts are increasingly being asked to decide matters that attract strong public emotions and political interpretations. Some analysts believe the outcome of the case could influence how future disputes involving activists, politicians, and government officials are handled. It may also shape public understanding of the limits and protection provided by Nigerian law. The development has further sparked debate among young Nigerians, many of whom rely heavily on social media for political engagement. They are closely watching the case because it touches on issues they care deeply about, including accountability, transparency, and civic participation. Another single angle worth considering is the impact such cases have on Nigerian international image. Foreign observers often pay attention to how countries manage disputes involving activists and critics of government. As a result, cases like this sometimes attract attention beyond Nigerian borders. At the same time, legal experts believe the public that court cases should be allowed to proceed without pressure from either supporters or opponents. They argue that respect for legal institutions remains essential for maintaining public confidence in democracy. For now, the court proceedings continue, but the larger debate is likely to remain long after the case ends. Questions about political criticism, freedom of speech, civic activism, and the rule of law are issues that will continue to shape Nigeria's democratic journey. As Nigerians await the next stage of the proceedings, many will be watching not only to see what happens to Sowore, but also to understand what the case may mean for the future of the political engagement and democratic participation in the country. Another important issue raised by the Sowore case is the relationship between activism and governance. In every democracy, activists play a role in holding leaders accountable. They often raise questions that many citizens may be afraid to ask. However, governments also have a responsibility to maintain law and order. The challenge is finding the right balance between these two responsibilities. Some political analysts believe that Nigeria is still developing the institutions needed to manage disagreements between government officials and activists. In mature democracies, strong institutions often help reduce tension by ensuring that disputes are resolved fairly and transparently. The case also brings attention to the growing influence of civic engagement in Nigeria. Over the years, citizens have become more involved in public affairs through protests, advocacy campaigns, and online discussions. This has created a more politically aware population that closely follows issues affecting governance and public accountability. Many Nigerians remember that Sowore has been involved in several high-profile campaigns and protests over the years. Because of this history, every legal battle involving him tends to attract public interest for supporters. He represents the voice of dissent. For critics, he represents a controversial figure whose actions sometimes generate unnecessary tension. The reaction to the case demonstrates how divided public opinion can be. While some citizens insist that nobody should be above the law, others believe that activists also face greater scrutiny because of their political views. These different opinions reflect the broader political division that exists within the country. Observers are also paying attention to the role of the media in reporting the case. News organizations have the difficult task of informing the public while avoiding sensationalism. Accurate reporting becomes especially important when a legal matter involves a well-known public figure. The proceedings may also influence future political activism in the country. Young activists are watching carefully to understand the legal consequences that may arise from public criticism of government officials. The outcome could shape how advocacy campaigns are conducted in the years ahead. Another concern is the growing level of distrust between political actors and state institutions. Some Nigerians believe that stronger dialogue between government and critics could help reduce unnecessary confrontations. Others argue that disagreements are a natural part of democracy and should not be seen as a threat. Legal scholars say cases like this offer an opportunity to strengthen the justice system. When courts handle sensitive matters fairly and independently, public confidence in democratic institutions tend to increase. This is why many citizens are closely monitoring every stage of the proceedings.